Okay, this is going to be very, very similar to what we were just doing. Okay, so not too much has changed. We're going to actually look at 3 different situations now. Hang on, I need to share my screen with those of you at home so you're seeing the right thing. Can everybody at home see my screen correctly now? You see finding a number when the percent is known? Should look just like page 9 of your notes. Okay, we're going to look at 3 different situations. Okay, we're going to look at finding the percent of a number. So problems like find 15% of 20. We're going to look at finding the percent one number is of another. 18 is what percent of 120. And then finding a number when the percent is known. 15% of what number is 18. Okay? So a different part is missing each time. Sometimes we're missing the percent. Sometimes we're missing the part. Sometimes we're missing a whole. We have to be able to figure out when we're missing each part. Okay, we're still going to use these same methods. Okay, I want, those of you at home, I want you to type it in the chat. Those of you here, show of hands. Put up a 1 if you prefer the percent proportion, a 2 if you like the equation better. Because then I'm going to kind of do them that way. 1 or a 2? The proportion or the equation? Those of you at home, a 1 or a 2? Okay, looks like everybody's saying proportion. So are you guys okay if I just do the problem as proportions rather than both ways? Okay? Of course, you could still use the equation. You guys, we can do either one, but percent over 100, part, remember, is the word is. Whole is the word of. Same with the equation. Whole is of. Part is is. The only thing here is we have to remember the percent is a decimal. Okay? I'm going to stick to the proportion. So if you guys are okay with that, I'm just going to use the proportion. I think it's easier. Okay, so let's look at the first situation. Find 15% of 120. Now, I'm going to cross off the equation. I'm just going to do the proportion. Remember the proportion. Percent over 100. Part over whole. Okay, do we know the percent? In this problem, do we know the percent? Yeah, I think so. It says 15%. So 15 over 100. Where should the 120 go? On the top or the bottom? Krista? Bottom. Okay, I know it goes on the bottom because it says of 120. It's 15% out of 120. And now we're going to solve it. We put an X there and solve. Multiply the numbers on the diagonal. 15 times 120 divided by 100. You guys should be writing this on your notes. Okay, and you get X equals 18. Should I put a percent sign on that answer? No. Okay, I already know the percent. I don't need a percent sign on my answer. My answer is just 18. 18 is 15% of 120. Okay, questions there? Okay, I want you guys to do not the second one, just the first one. Just do the first one. What is 23% of 92? Set up the problem. And solve it. Those of you at home, type your answer in the chat. And round to the nearest tenth. Can you say that? Okay, if you did this correctly, you should have gotten 21.2. Okay, 23 over 100, because 23 is the percent of 92. The 92 goes on the bottom, and we solve it. Multiply 23 times 92, divide by 100, or 21.16. Okay? All right, the next situation. Find the percent one number is of another. Okay, 18 is what percent of 120? Okay, I'm going to set up a proportion again. Do we know the percent? No, when I look at this problem, 18 does not have a percent sign on it, 120 does not have a percent sign on it. So I'm going to put x over 100. I do not know the percent. Which number goes on the top and which one goes on the bottom? Where should I put them? What do you think? Matthew, what do you think? Very good. 18 is, that goes on the top. 120 is the of, so that goes on the bottom, and then we solve it. 18 times 100 divided by 120, and my answer is 15. Do I put a percent sign this time? Yeah. It says what percent, so it's 15%. Now I need a percent sign, okay? So remember, if it's asking you what percent, then you have to put a percent sign on your answer. Okay? Flip the page in your notepad. Okay, let's cross off the second one again. Let's just do the first one. I want you to try to set up the first one. What percent of 92 is 66? Those of you at home, type your answer in the chat. You're going to double check yours. I think you put your numbers in the wrong order. Lily, you've got it. Tyler, you've got it. Okay, it says what percent, so I don't know the percent. That's where I'm going to put my x over 100. Of 92 is 66. So where should the 92 go and where should the 66 go? What do you think? Does the 92 go on the top or the bottom? The bottom, right? It says of 92. So 92 goes on the bottom, that means 66 goes on the top. So 66 times 100 divided by 92, you get 71.739. We want to round to the nearest tenth. So 71.7%. Okay, don't forget your percent sign because we are looking for a percent. Okay. All right, then the third situation is finding a number when the percent is known. 15% of what number is 18? Okay, this time we know the percent again. So I have the percent. So 15 over 100. Of what number is 18. So should the 18 go on the top or the bottom? The top, it says is. So I'm going to put the 18 there and solve for the bottom. Okay, same process. We multiply the two numbers on the diagonal, multiply the 100 times 18, and divide by 15. And you should get 120. Should I put a percent sign on my answer? No, no percent sign here. We just want the number. Okay? So you try the first one. Don't worry about the second one. 42 is 5% of what number? You set that up. 42 is 5% of what number? Those of you at home, type your answer in the chat. Those of you here, I'll come look at it. If you did this correct, you should get 840. Okay? 42 is 5% of what number? So we have 5 over 100, since that's the percent. 42 is, that would be the part, and we put the x on the bottom. Okay, we solve it. 100 times 42 divided by 5. You get 840. Okay. The hard part is setting it up, right? You guys all know how to solve a proportion. So once you get it set up, I think then it's easy. Okay, now we're going to look at a few word problems because I truly think word problems are always the hardest, right? I could give you 1,000 problems like this. I think you'd be okay because they're very familiar to us. We can pick out the is, the of, the percent. Okay, word problems are a little harder. So let's look at this. You scored 37 on a 45-point test. What was your percent? Okay? No matter what, you guys, all of these problems, I'm going to set them up as a proportion. I know that 100 has to go there. Do we know the percent? No. So that's my x. X over 100. Okay, I have two numbers. I have 37 and I have 45. Which of those numbers is the whole amount? Is it the 37 or the 45? You scored 37 on a 45-point test. Which one is the whole? Is there a whole amount of 37 points on the test or a whole of 45? The total amount on the test is what? Samantha? 45. So the 45 is the whole amount. That goes on the bottom. 37 has to go on the top. Okay, make sure we're writing this down as an example. Once you have that set up, you multiply the two numbers on the diagonal, 37 times 100, divide by 45. Okay, we're going to round to the nearest tenth. So you get 82.2. Do I need a percent sign? Yeah, it says, what was your percent? 82.2%. Okay. Questions there? Okay, let's try this next one. Okay, the population of Melrose is approximately 3,600 people. This is about 5.5% of the population of St. Cloud. What is the population of St. Cloud? Okay, I'm going to take this sentence right here. This is, so this right here is what's important. This is 5.5% of the population of St. Cloud. All of my words are in here. This is 5.5% of the population of St. Cloud. We just have to put the right numbers with it. I know my percent. 5.5 over 100. Is, there's my word is, this. What represents this? The population of Melrose is approximately 3,600 people. This is the population of Melrose, right? So should the Melrose population go on the top or the bottom? The top, 3,600. Because then it says of the population of St. Cloud. I do not know that population. So I put an X on the bottom. Multiply the numbers on the diagonal, 100 times 3,600 divided by 5.5. Do I want a decimal here? What do you guys think? Can my answer be a decimal? We're talking about people. Can we have a partial person? No. Even if you're missing like a finger or something, you're still a whole person, right? Even if you're missing an arm or a leg, you're still a whole person. So we would not have a decimal. We would round to the nearest whole person. So it would be 65,455 people. Okay, because we're going to round the decimal as a 5, that rounds up. Does that make sense to everyone? We don't want partial people. Doesn't work like that. Okay. All right, here's another long one. An airplane traveled from Boston to Las Vegas, making a stop in St. Louis. Okay, I need to draw this out. Boston is over on the East Coast. Las Vegas is over on the West Coast, or closer. And it made a stop here in St. Louis. Right? The airplane traveled to those places. Okay, the distance from Boston to Las Vegas here is a total of 3,458 miles. The distance from Boston to St. Louis is about 30% of the total. How many miles from Boston to St. Louis? Do I know my percent? Absolutely, it's 30 out of 100. Okay, 30 of 100. The 3,458, is that part of the miles or is that the total miles? Krista, that's the total miles. So 3,458 has to go on the bottom. We want to find the top number. So we multiply 30 times 3,458 and then divide by 100. Can we have a decimal this time? Sure. Can you travel a partial mile? Absolutely, that makes sense. So 1,037.4 miles is the distance from Boston to St. Louis. Okay, questions from anyone? Any questions? Okay, so you essentially then have the rest of the hour.